Hey everyone, welcome back, and today I am going to be doing a packing video of sorts. It's not the usual kind of packing video where I'm showing you what exact outfits I'm taking and stuff like that. I do have a Disney World trip coming up very soon, which is why I decided to do this video. But I wanted to do it more like a packing tips video and talking about essentials, what you need, what you don't need, we're going to be talking about as well. And just really getting into the things over the years that I have found really useful to bring with me on a Disney trip. I have done so many trips now and therefore packed for so many different trips. I can tell you things that you definitely do not need, things that are really useful that you may not have thought of, and just a few little different packing tips and things like that. Because I know lots of you have got trips coming up and loads of people have got trips coming up next year. So I just wanted to do this video for you guys to obviously watch now, but also refer back to when it comes time to be packing for your trips. And I do have some really kind of unusual items here, just some obscure things that you really may not have thought of, but over the years I have found really useful and actually really needed and didn't bring with me on previous ones, and now I do. So keep watching till the end because there's lots of different little items that you may not have thought of. So I'm going to begin with a few kind of product toiletry type items. I'm not going to go through all of those because I do have previous videos where I've talked about like my makeup and my hair and all that kind of stuff and what products I use. I'll link that video below so you can kind of see the full range of stuff, but I just wanted to mention a few things that are particularly useful for everybody. And I do just have a couple of makeup items that are more to do with keeping your makeup on, because I do get a lot of people asking about that. First thing that is an absolute essential when you go to Disney World, in my opinion, is hand sanitizer. This is one of the Bath and Body Works ones where you can kind of clip it onto your bag. I find these so useful, and then you can just change it off of one bag onto another if you have more than one. There's so many different ones you can get that do have a little kind of hanging thing on. Those are the best ones, I think, so you can just pop them onto your bag. And don't forget to bring an extra one as well, because you do go through a lot of it. I find those little tiny ones, that wouldn't even last me like a 2-week trip, because I do use it all the time when I'm about to eat something in the parks, or if you've eaten something sticky or like a drink that's sticky, some of the Starbucks Frappuccinos and stuff, you can use it for that afterwards before you can kind of get somewhere to wash your hands. But it does mean that you go through a lot of it, so make sure you bring an extra backup one as well. And another thing that I bring, and you guys will have heard me talk about this before, is my Wild deodorant. This is their newest case, which is the Tropical Jungle case. This one has just come out, and if you guys have been watching me a long time, you might know that monkeys are my favorite animal. There is a little monkey on this case, which I absolutely love. They have lots of different designs that you can get with the cases. And if you haven't heard of this before, Wild is a refillable deodorant brand. So this is one of the little refills that you can get. So you buy your case and then you just get your refills to put in so that it reduces plastic waste. You're not constantly throwing away the whole thing when you're done with the deodorant. You keep this and just put your new refills in. All of this is completely recyclable. You've got the little sleeve on, and the refill itself, all of that is something that you can recycle. I started using Wild probably about 2 years ago, I would say, somewhere around then. One of the things I like about it the most are the different fragrances. Normally with deodorant, you buy it and it just, the smell is what it is. With Wild, they have lots of different fragrances available. I think they have about 15, and their current one to go with the case is Tropical Jungle, but they have lots of different ones you can choose from. Some of them are like sweeter, they have like fresh kind of ones, more of the sort of spicy kind of smells. There's all sorts of different ones that you can choose from. It's like a very fresh fragrance, but it does just have this kind of little tropical edge. There was one last year that was like a sunset tropical one, and that was more fruity. This one is a tiny bit more like on the spicy side. It's really nice. You can get these on subscription as well, so you can either just order them as a pack of 3, or you can set a subscription running so that you don't run out, and you can choose how often you get your refills sent to you. And they do also have sensitive versions of some of the fragrances as well, so if you have sensitive skin and you're worried about that, you can get a sensitive version. The main reason I love Wild though, for me, because I travel so much, is the fact that this is neither a liquid nor an aerosol, and that means you can take it in like your handbag or your cabin luggage, and it doesn't cause a problem in terms of all the liquid issue where you've got to put stuff in the little bag and all of that, and aerosols you can't take in the cabin. But this is absolutely fine, because often on the plane it is a long journey to Florida and you do feel a bit hot and sweaty. On planes it's either freezing cold or boiling hot, I think you guys will probably agree, and sometimes you want a little freshen up before you get there and stuff. And the fact that you can just take this one on board with you and not worry about what size it is and all of that kind of stuff is another one of the reasons that I really like it. And they have given me a code again to give to to you guys to get 20% off. So the code is 20Disney. It'll be on the screen here. There's also a QR code and there's a link in the description as well. So you can get 20% off everything on their site, whether it's the cases, the refills. They've got shower gels and lip balms as well as the deodorants, and you can get 20% off all of it for a limited time using my code. And they do ship worldwide as well. So if you're watching from the States or elsewhere, you can still try this and give it a go. Like I said, I love it because it's just so easy for travel, because I know I can take it with me, but also the fact that it's natural ingredients, it's recyclable, so it's good for the environment as well, which I like. And the cases that I've had previously, because I've obviously tried a lot of the different cases, I always like give them away to family and friends so that they can get going with it as well and then just get their refills. So definitely give this a go if I were you. I love it and it's perfect for Florida. So just a few more product type things and then I'll go on to like a different section. I'm doing this in sections. I've got like a technology section, and then I've got miscellaneous unusual items, so I'm going to do it all in little sections. Another thing I wanted to mention are a couple of things I use on my face. There is no doubt one of the most important things when you're doing a Florida trip is sunscreen, and that is sunscreen for your body, sunscreen for your face. If you have like your parting exposed on your hair, or if you have like no hair on top or thinning hair on top, you definitely need to think about that for sunscreen as well, because you can burn so fast in Florida, and I mean unbelievably fast if you forget to put your sunscreen on. So this is the one that I use on my face. It's from Boots and it's the SPF 50 with hyaluronic acid. They do a few different ones that have different kind of ingredients in them, but this is the one that I like. It's very inexpensive and this goes on my face before I put any makeup or any other products in the morning. I just put that all over, but I especially concentrate it like forehead, nose and around here, so you don't get burned, and also it is just good for your skin from an anti-aging perspective to always use SPF. I actually use this every single day, not just when I'm traveling. I use it at home as well, because I do believe that keeping your skin looking youthful, you absolutely need to wear SPF. So that is one of my favorites. Another thing that's a fairly new product to me, but I absolutely swear by this, is the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. Now this is not a cheap product, I will say, and it's a little bit annoying how expensive it is. This is the little travel one. I've only barely got a tiny bit left in there. I do have the big one as well, and I refill this small one from the bigger one because this is the perfect size for travel, and it's the Airbrush Flawless setting spray from Charlotte Tilbury. They only have one, I think. I've always been a little bit dubious about setting sprays. I've tried all of the ones out there, and I have tried a few over the years that were decent, but this is the best one I've ever tried. It's one of the few that I actually notice a difference, and my makeup does stay on, I will say, even when it's really hot and sweaty in Florida, which, let's face it, is pretty much all the time. This does keep my makeup on. Obviously on the hottest of hottest days it is going to come off a little bit, but this really does help, I think, a lot to keep it on. So let's move on now to gadgety things. Let's do next. Now the number one, you know what this is going to be before I've even shown you. This, the Easiac fan. I have tried the little small version. There's like a little one. I do like that one, but it is nowhere near as good. If you are going during the hotter months, you definitely need this slightly bigger one. It's still not huge and it does fold down, so if you have like a Loungefly bag or something, you can kind of fold it up to put it in there. It does make a big difference to me, again, in keeping my makeup on, stopping me from getting too sweaty. For me, when it comes to being uncomfortable in the heat, it's just the sweating. I can't bear it. Like, it's so bad, and the humidity is a lot in Florida. It really is. So this fan is a lifesaver. I cannot do the parks without it, to be honest with you. So definitely get one of these. You can get them on Amazon. I will put it in the description. And along with this, definitely take a power bank with you to the parks with a little USB cable to charge this up. This won't last all day if you're using it a lot of the time. So when you take little breaks or you stop for lunch or a coffee or whatever, you can just quickly give it a little charge, so you're good to go again and it's not going to run out. Because when it's very, very hot, there is nothing worse than if this runs out and you don't have a power bank to charge it. And I also have this with me to charge my phone. Very often when you're in Florida and you're on the My Disney Experience app doing your lightning lanes and stuff, you're taking photos, you might be uploading things to Instagram, depending how much you use your phone. And this is a bit of a weird thing, but because the sun is so bright in Florida, most phones now will adjust the brightness on your screen screen so that you can see it in the bright sunshine. The more it ups the brightness, the quicker your battery will run down. So I just noticed my phone runs down so much quicker out there than it does at home. So this is also essential for your phone, and it does have 2 USB ports. So if you need to charge both when you're taking a little break, then that is really useful as well. And I do have one of these cables, because you'll need to remember to bring the cables. This one actually does all 3. So it's like one little USB, and then you can charge an iPhone, and then it's got one that charges the fan as well. And there's like a third type as well. This is what I got on the cruise with Disney Cruise Line. So this is going to be my new little cable that I take, because it does all of them. And one other thing to mention in terms of electronics, I do get a lot of questions about hair stylers and which ones you can take with you. The big thing that you have going from the UK to the States is whether or not your items are going to work with the voltage difference. It may heat up, but a lot of them won't heat up anywhere near to the level that they should, which is really annoying. And what I found, even with items that do work, they do take longer to heat up. For example, I use all of the Beauty Works stylers. This is the waver that I use. You guys will have seen me with the wavy hair. I did a video on it not too long ago. They have a bigger one and a smaller one. This is the slightly smaller one. I will link it below. I also have the curling iron as well from Beauty Works. Both of those work perfectly well, but they do take just a little bit longer to heat up when I'm over there than they do in the UK. So I just switch it on like a bit earlier than I'm going to need it, just to give it time to heat up. But these I can definitely say do work. I also have a pair of straighteners, which is a brand called Glamorizer, and those work. Previously I had a very old pair of GHDs. They did work. However, I know for a fact that the Dyson products don't work. Kate brought those with her and that was no good. I don't know about like Shark and some of the others. So just be careful what you're bringing with you as to whether it's going to work or not. So I just wanted to let you know about the items that I use that definitely do work. So Beauty Works stuff, I can say definitely does. Let's move on now to a couple of more unusual little things that you may not think to bring. One of which is a pair of scissors. Now, you don't necessarily think to pack scissors, but I have needed them on a lot of occasions. One is if you're removing tags from things that you've purchased. And when you buy ears at Disney, I've got a pair here. This particular pair has a really small little label on it. So I actually haven't felt the need to remove this one yet. And you can just fold it in like that and then put them on. But some of them have this like enormous long tag. I don't know if you've seen those, and you're going to want to remove that. It's just too annoying when you're trying to wear them, and you definitely would need scissors for that. So I always bring scissors, and you don't want to bring a massive pair necessarily. I actually have these, which I think are the best scissors ever. You can take these in your cabin luggage as well, and you just remove the lid, push the little thing up, and you've got your little scissors. These are actually from Erin Condren. I love these. I don't know if they still sell them. They might do. If not, I'm sure they exist somewhere else. I don't know, but I absolutely love this little pair of travel scissors, so I always take those with me. And another thing is this, which is a glasses repair kit. That sounds a little bit strange. This is not necessarily to fix glasses, although you could use it for that, and obviously your sunglasses, I suppose, could break. The main reason I take it has this teeny tiny screwdriver. I've needed this sometimes for my camera. So on my camera, where the screen kind of flips up, the screw gets very loose, and that can cause a real problem with the screen kind of like moving around, and I've been worried about breaking it. And last time that happened, I didn't have a tiny screwdriver. I went to Target, I couldn't find one. It was actually a real pain. So now I take this little repair kit thing with me, and I've always got a teeny tiny screwdriver. In fact, I probably will put this in the owner's locker next time I go, and then it's always just there if I need it. But that can actually be very, very useful, is a teeny tiny little screwdriver. The next thing to mention is painful feet. There is no question about it. When you go on a Disney trip, you are walking a lot, and I mean a lot. It is so much more than you normally would, and depending which shoes you're wearing, you can get blisters. Now, I would never recommend wearing new shoes that you haven't broken in on a Disney trip. You are asking for trouble with that. Always break them in quite extensively before you wear them. But even shoes that you've had for ages, sometimes just the sheer amount of walking, you can get blisters. So another thing to take definitely are plasters. You can either take regular ones or the specific blister ones, but I tend to just take this, and this is the stuff that you can cut to size. Again, why you need your little scissors, but these ones are good because depending how big an area that you need to cover. But I like these because they come like this, like a really big piece of plaster, and depending how big the blister is or whatever, you can kind of cut it to size. I prefer that to little plasters that often just kind of scrunch up and fall off. And also these little foot mask things. This one is a Beauty Pie one. My favourites are actually from Superdrug. They're really inexpensive, but they are basically like moisturising foot sock things. So if your feet are really painful from walking around the parks, when you get back to the hotel one evening, you can put those on and you just kind of leave them on for as long as you want to. It says on the packaging to leave it on for, I don't know, like an hour or something. I've left them on all night before. I'm not necessarily recommending that because that is not what it says on the packaging. I'm just telling you I have done it. So I've slept in them and took them off the next morning, and my feet have felt so soft and really, really nice. And like I say, Superdrug normally have them on like 3 for 2. They're very, very cheap. So I would get a few of those to take with you as well, just in case you are suffering with foot pain. It's nice to have something when you get back to alleviate it somewhat, because it is not fun when that happens. I'm getting on to rainy weather next, but also kind of while we're still on the subject of footwear. Obviously it rains a lot in Florida as well as being very hot. There are rainier seasons where it's kind of every day, and then other times of the year it's not as bad. But I will say in Florida it can be any type of the year you will get rain, and the rain there is heavy. It's not like in the UK where it's kind of drizzly, or even if it's raining quite a bit, it's not like torrential very often. In Florida the rain is very often torrential rain, like mega rainy. And the problem is with it, if you're wearing like trainers or Converse or anything like that, it will soak your shoes. Before now, I think I was walking just from the exit of Guardians into Connections Cafe, so I was only going a short distance and my Converse got absolutely drenched just walking across. So even if you've got like an umbrella or a poncho or something, that doesn't save your footwear. Now I will admit these things are, one, very strange, and two, not attractive looking, but stay with me on this. I bought these on Amazon and they are basically shoe covers. The way they're designed, they will go over the top of like high tops as well. So even if you've got like Converse high tops or those type of trainers, they go up a little bit higher and they completely protect your footwear. This is what they look like. So they have an actual hard sole on the bottom, and I would try and get a pair that have this like harder rubbery sole. Obviously it's not the most hard wearing thing ever, but it's good enough that it's not gonna just break the first time you use them. And basically you just put it over your shoes and then you pull the little drawstring at the top so it is tight around your ankle, and then it stops your shoes from getting soaked. Yes, they look a little bit silly, but I would much rather put these on just temporarily while I'm walking around in very, very heavy rain. Yes, these are not attractive. They look a little bit silly, but I will say if you are needing to walk somewhere and it is raining, they will completely keep your shoes and trainers dry. And if you've been in that situation where they've got soaked, like in the early part of the day, and then you have to walk around all day long with wet feet, that is a nightmare. I've bought the really big ones because I want them to be able to fit properly over the top of my shoes. So if you're not sure about which size, I would buy like a bigger size than you think you need, just so that they do properly fit over the top of like high tops, and trainers can be quite chunky. But yes, I know these are odd, but I wanted to throw that out there because although it's kind of a strange thing to carry around with you, if you do know that it's going to be raining, and they do roll up pretty small if you've got like a Loungefly bag or something, they're just good to have. So top tip there. And continuing with the theme of rain, umbrella, without question, always need one of these. Even if it looks like the weather's going to be good, unless I've got an issue with space in my bag, I will take my umbrella every single day. Not least because you can use it to cover the sun as well. If it's boiling hot sun, you can put your umbrella up just to keep the sun off you. You can buy UV umbrellas. This is just a regular one, but a UV one would be better. Then you can use it for the sun or the rain, but always take it with you because you never know when there's going to be a sudden thunderstorm and you're going to get soaked. Okay, my battery just went there, so apologies if anything looks different. I just had to change that over. Let's continue on to some kind of packing tips. I just wanted to show you a few of the things that I use to actually pack stuff in. So one of them, which you will have heard me mention before, is packing cubes. I cannot travel anywhere now without packing cubes. If I go away for the weekend, I use one to put my clothes in. On trips to Disney World, I use more than one because I'm going for longer. I'll put in a little clip of what they look like. They're such a great way of keeping your clothes kind of folded and in together. You can zip it up and everything doesn't move around. So once I get to Florida, even though my suitcase will have been thrown around by the baggage handling people and everything, all of my clothes are still kind of in the packing cubes, folded as they should be. I always make sure I put enough in them that everything is kind of like tight in there when you do the zip up, so then nothing moves around and everything arrives as it should be. All of my clothes and underwear and stuff, everything like that will go into packing cubes, and then it's only those and kind of like loose items that are in the case, and I just find that everything stays kind of clean, folded and as it should be. Sometimes if your clothes are just like rolling around in there and they're next to other things, they can get super creased. Sometimes they can even get marked. If anything leaks, it's going to go on there. So yeah, I would highly recommend always using packing cubes, and as with everything, I will link stuff like that below so that you can find them. The next thing I have is a little jewellery case. Now most of the stuff I will wear the same things. You will always see me in this necklace. It's the one I wear all the time. I have my Pandora bracelet and I always wear the same one of those. I generally don't wear my Pandora bracelet to travel in, however, and there's certain tops that I wear that I don't wear a necklace with because they're like higher up. So any jewellery that I'm not wearing but I want to take with me, I put into this little case. I love this. It's the perfect size. You can fit a few little bits in there but not too much, but it just keeps everything safe and together. And with jewellery, especially if it's anything valuable, you don't want to misplace it or lose it or just have it kind of rolling around in a bag somewhere and not being looked after. So these little cases you can pick up online fairly easily, and that just keeps all your little bits of jewellery and stuff together. Another thing that I've recently started using, and before I had this I would just use a packing cube that was around this size, but I like this better because it's more sturdy, and that's this little bag. And this is the Disney Cruise Line one that they gave us on the cruise I did recently, and this is perfect for all of my kind of tech things, anything to do with like my vlogging. So extra camera batteries, hard drives I would put in here, any charging cables, power bank. This is actually a little extra power bank that I have in there as well. Anything like that I put in here, and then this just keeps everything together and you know where everything is. That's one of my top tips for packing, is to just have lots of little bags and things like this to put things in. So like this one for my tech stuff, this one for jewellery, packing cubes for the clothes. Then I have a little zip up bag to put all of my toiletries in, another one to put makeup in. What I don't like to have is all sorts of like little bits and pieces that are just all over the place in a suitcase. That I do not like at all. I like everything to have its place. And the other thing that I do have is this tiny little kind of zip up purse bag for anything that doesn't fall into the category of like jewellery or tech stuff or toiletries. Just tiny little things like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like my house key. Obviously I'm going to need that when I get back from Florida, but I won't need it the whole time. So I like to have just this little zippy up purse thing to put stuff like that in. Just anything really, small little bits. And look at this. So this is my little IKEA bag. It's got a little keychain on, so you can actually attach it to something. The iconic little IKEA bag that you go around and pick up your stuff in, but a teeny tiny version that you can actually buy at IKEA. How cute is this? I love this. But yeah, just little tiny bits and pieces that might not have another place I will put in here, and that will go usually in my cabin luggage bag, and then I just know where those things are when I need them. And the final thing I just wanted to mention before I move on to what not to pack is a hat. I always take a hat with me. I don't wear one in the parks when it's hot. I actually prefer an umbrella, because having a hat on my head when it is like sweaty and hot actually makes me feel even hotter, and makes like here, it just makes me feel so sweaty. So I would rather put a UV umbrella up to keep the sun off. But I will take a hat with me always, more so for when I'm like traveling home. If my hair's a mess after I've been on the plane and then I've got to get like a train or something home, or just the whole travel day, sometimes I wear a hat if my hair's kind of a bit crazy. So I do always take one just in case you have a bad hair moment. That is the reason I would recommend that. Oh, and one other thing, I haven't actually physically, well it is physically here, but I haven't taken it off the bed. Something I do take is my pillowcase. So I won't obviously take the whole pillow because that would take up a load of room in my suitcase, but I always take my own pillowcase off and take it with me when I travel, not just to Disney World, I do it all the time. For me with sleeping, I just like to have my own pillow, and these ones are like the Teddy fleece. I don't know if you guys know kind kind of what that is, but they're really like soft and snuggly, and I like my own pillowcase. And luckily with this one, because it's not white, I always remember to take it with me. Don't take like a white pillowcase off your bed, because then you'll probably end up leaving it there. But if you do like your own pillowcase, or you like some sort of, you know, feeling of home to help you sleep, a pillowcase is something I would highly recommend. For some reason, when I have my own, I just sleep so much better. Before I wrap up this video, I just wanted to mention a few things not to pack. There's not loads of things on this list, but these are just a few things in my experience that are not needed. They take up unnecessary room. A couple of them are specific and a couple of them are more general. One thing that is like a general thing that I would say, don't pack too many clothes. On a Disney World vacation, generally speaking, you need more casual clothes. There are not very many times where you're going to need more formal kind of outfits. On a lot of other type of holidays, you would wear your kind of swim stuff and beach stuff during the day, maybe like your shorts and t-shirt and stuff, and then in the evenings you would get more dressy to go out to dinner, or maybe there'll be like entertainment in the evening and you'll be going to bars or whatever it might be. A Disney World vacation is a little bit different in my experience. A lot of the time you're out doing so much in the day and you're so tired by the time you get to the end of the day. Even if you have a dining reservation, it might be in the park that you're in, it might be at one of the resorts, but very often you might just go straight there, and there won't be a situation where you're going to go back to the resort, get changed and get all dolled up to go back out again. That, in my experience anyway, is just not something I do very often when I'm in Florida. The main thing is don't pack too many clothes, because you probably won't need them. They do have laundry facilities practically everywhere at every hotel that you go to, so you can always like wash stuff if you need to. But I have in the past just taken way too many clothes, and then when it's come to it, I've worn like 50% of it, and it was a total waste of suitcase space. And when you go to Florida, often you do want to buy stuff to bring back, so you don't want your suitcase space taken up with loads of clothes that you're not going to wear, especially more formal stuff. Same goes for shoes. Don't take too many pairs of shoes. In my experience, you want like your trainers or Converse or whatever type of thing, like comfy shoes you're going to wear to walk in. It might be that your park walking shoes are more like sandals. I know some people wear like Crocs or Tevas or whatever, like that type of thing. Your comfy walking park shoes you're going to want, and you might have like 1 or 2 pairs of those. Then you maybe want a pair of like sandals or flip-flops for if you're by the pool or just having more of a chilled out kind of day. And maybe if you are planning to go out for a dinner one evening, something a bit nicer, you might want like 1 pair of shoes that are a bit nicer for that. But you really don't need anything else. I have done trips before where I took so many pairs of shoes. Shoes are the worst thing for taking up space, and I didn't wear half of them. And a couple of items specifically that I wouldn't take is a hairdryer. I've never ever been to any hotel in Orlando that did not have a hairdryer. That goes for the Disney hotels, the DVC resorts, villas that I've stayed in, really cheap motel style hotels that you get all around the area. Every single last one of them has always had a hairdryer. And when it comes to airport hotels, if you're staying the night before, Premier Inns have hairdryers. All of the other ones I've stayed in do. The only ones that don't routinely have them in a room are travel lodges, but they always have them at reception and you can go and ask for one. So I've never ever had a situation where there's no hairdryer, and it's a totally unnecessary thing to bring in my experience anyway. And the other thing that is totally unnecessary to bring are towels. Obviously it would be weird for people to bring their own towels just for like using in the shower, but I know some people do bring like beach towels and stuff. Maybe if you're staying in a villa or something, or you're doing like a real beachy kind of trip to Florida. But if you're going on like your standard Disney World holiday where you're going to spend most of the time in the parks, even if you come back and go to the pool in the afternoon, they have towels at the pool in all the Disney resorts. All the other hotels that I've ever been to also have towels by the pool. You can bring one if you wanted to, but towels are something I just find take up totally unnecessary space, and there's always towels there. You don't need to bring your own. So that was another thing that I wanted to mention. And that is going to be it for this video. I'm going to be packing my case very soon because I will be going back to Walt Disney World. So there's going to be a new travel day, new vlogs. I'm going to be going there for the Halloween festivities, so I'll be showing you all of that as well. I'm very excited to bring you brand new vlogs, and I hope you guys are excited to watch them. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up because that helps other people to find it. And if you have any packing tips or things that you like to take, things that you don't think are necessary to take, please do put that in the comments because it always always helps other people as well when they are doing their packing. And that's the idea behind this video. I just wanted to give you a few little kind of tips and things that I've learned from so many Disney World trips to help you guys with your packing. As always, I want to say a huge thank you to you guys for watching this video. Please do subscribe if you're not already, because I do have lots of new vlogs coming up. You can tap the bell icon to make sure you're always notified when those videos go live. It will usually be on a Saturday, not always, but usually. And I do have my other channel as well, Victoria in Detail. If you're interested in seeing more of my day-to-day stuff, other travel things that I'm doing, then you can head over there as well. And like I said earlier in the video, if you do want to try Wild deodorant for yourself, which I can highly recommend doing, there is a link in the description of this video, so you can always find it there, or you can just use the code 20Disney. I hope you guys are all well and having a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.